I can only imagine what a mammoth task it would have been to be there for 13 months. And did you say 600 hours of footage at the beginning?
Yeah, 500, 600 hours of footage, yeah. 135 days, yeah.
Looking back, we now talk about this farmers' movement as perhaps the largest and longest protest movement of independent India. But when it took off, we didn't know how long it would go on, what it would be. But you were there pretty much within days of the protest movement starting. What was the spark or the inciting incident that made you feel that this is a film you have to make?
I mean, it was coming at the end of many other movements, right? The Shaheen Bagh, before that, the students, and then the Dalit movement preceding that, then the film students. So, you know, I mean, I was curious whether how those movements had been repressed, quite a few of them. What would happen with this? But also there is also this knowledge that the farmers are pretty strong in India. So I think all eyes were, you know, on this movement. Even I was not in India at that moment. I was stuck in COVID and I was in the US, but I was following it since June. And then I came back at the end of October, and this started, the farmers reached Delhi on November 26th. And I just started working with this young camera person, young filmmaker, and I asked him to go and, you know, do a recce of what is happening. And he went to all the borders, and he gave me a report. And as I explained earlier, I came down. But, you know, for the first 1 month, it was like recce come shoot. You know, trying to understand the movement. Also, I don't speak Punjabi fully. So, you know, 50%. I'm from Delhi, so I understand some bit of Punjabi, but not the rural Punjabi, and the accents are different. So, you know, just meeting people, trying to understand, read. And then we decided that we didn't, first of all, I just wanted to say that I had no funding at all for 1 year. And it was difficult, like, you know, I shot up till 26 January, and then, like, if I quit now, what happens to all the time that I had? So, you know, because of what happens to all the time I've spent, all the money I've spent, all the effort I've spent. So that kept me going on. And you didn't know, you know, when it could end. Right. It could end tomorrow, and or it could go on, and they started saying after 26 January that it'll go on for 2 years till 24 elections. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I was getting rejections. I was applying for funding, and I was getting rejections because the attitude was, oh, we've seen a lot of movements, and so what is so special about this movement, etc., you know. And so nothing, but I had to keep on going on. I had seen a spark, I had seen something special. And I just wanted to stick to that idea, and you know, what I'd seen. I felt so proud. I just felt so proud because, you know, it was COVID time. And when you came from Delhi to this zone, it had become a zone. And in this zone, everything was happening. There was songs, and, you know, there were street plays. There was poetry, there were, you know, everything was happening, and everything seemed possible. It felt like a university, you know, of some imagined university, etc. So, and it was, so I just wanted to stick to this idea that that this showed a spark, and this was a zone of possibilities that we could at some point reverse the direction in which our country is moving.
You chose but Bahadurgarh.
Yeah.
And while there were several borders at which the people were coming, and I know there's a reason why you chose, so can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, as people might know, there was Singhu border, there was Tikri border, there was Ghazipur, and at one point there was another one where people from Rajasthan were coming. I'm blanking on the name. And then Ugraha, who's, you know, you saw this one leader a lot in this film. And so BKU Ugraha, they had moved from Tikri border to this 5 kilometers away to Bahadurgarh, you know, on the Rohtak road, on highway. And there, when I went there, I found that I'm able to shoot there. There were a lot of people on Singu. There were a lot of camera people. There was a lot of crowd. It was difficult, and we also got a lot of time apprehended, and like, who are you, sort of a thing. My camera person was Assamese, so and we didn't have any press card, so it was difficult there, like to shoot in the night. There could be some bit of aggression, etc. So this place, we managed to, get to know the leadership, and then, we realized, then we could operate there. We could, but initially even here, people were like, what are you doing in the night? All the journalists have left. What are you doing here? Because they don't understand observational filmmaking, and I don't, I mean, some of you know my films. They're really about mundane, everyday stuff. They're not about the big stuff, They're about everyday things. And I wanted to capture the everyday the resilience, which is really at the bedrock of this movement. This is the ordinary people. For me, I was not so interested in leaders, but how the people are. So I needed to be there, like in the night and off hours, because the stage would go on from 11 to 3. And after that, people would come to their, tents, and they would start, making food, etc. That's when they were relaxed, and you could talk to them, and there was no, loudspeaker, so you could even record sound that would not be disturbed. So I had to be there in the evenings and nights, and people were like, no, who are you? We had to prove ourselves. Right. So they'll say, no, ask us a question. So then, from our questions, they would suss us out. Ki ye log kaun hai? Ye koi government wale to nahi hai? Ye kya sto? Because already there were a lot of, negative stories about the farmers. All kinds of negative stories were flowing. So even just to find access there and acceptance, with the people, it took me some time, and then slowly I found these characters, and I decided to focus. So I wanted to...
But you also went to Punjab. I think that I found very interesting, because I thought there would have been enough work and enough material on the Delhi borders, but you've also chosen to go into villages of Punjab.
Yeah, I went with many of the...
So I think the question is, like, did you have a sense of how you wanted to craft and tell the story, or did the form emerge after you looked at the footage?
No, by my March, when I had to apply for dockage, we were looking for the title for the film, and then it kind of clicked to me that, what I'm trying to make a film, it doesn't matter farm laws, wo to theek hai, wo ladai. Tomorrow there'll be another fight, and then there'll be another fight for something. Because continuously the people in India are having to fight for the basic stuff, right? So I got this feeling like that, I was more interested in the form of the protest. And then that, ye log Inquilab ki kheti kar rahe hain, and they're using their knowledge of farming, and which requires patience, perseverance, and resilience. This is that knowledge that they are applying to this, being here on the border. And then I got the title, Farming the Revolution. And for me, then the film followed. And therefore it was important, to also show Punjab, and not just because it's very, I started going to Punjab already from the very beginning with the farmers.
I think it's a great title, and I think what connects me with is somewhere I read, maybe in your director's statement, that you say that this kind of a coming together of people of many different groups, classes, and castes goes hand in hand with faith, never losing sight of the moral compass, and also revolutionary. How roots in faith and revolutionary thinking may coexist.
Right.
Can you elaborate on that?
I mean, so okay, they were the movement started from Punjab, so there's a lot of influence of Sikhism. Even if it's not obviously religious, there's a lived philosophy, one of sharing food, and it already like they fed the poor people on all of these borders. So this, and they were also feeding the policemen, the journalists, the filmmakers, everyone, and this philosophy of sharing their food, I think, was like the weapon. Like, I hate using that word, but that was their
we keep seeing the rotis being made
and
in
the
film.
rotis being paid. That is their power. Like, which group in India can stay on the border highways for 13 months like this, and will they be able to cook for themselves? So, it is also their resource. And their power is that they are the food growers. And that was that's their strength. And that's why you see repetitive shots of, like throughout the film, you see the cooking shots. And yeah, I mean, and this resource, like, and they're also changing the tent, like they're changing the tractor and trolley and repurposing it for every season. Like, we can't do it. Like, if we were going to sit on the highways, how would we survive it? For me, even spending a night there was so difficult. Like, where do you go for the toilet? Then the mosquitoes and everything. So for me, I just wanted to show the everyday difficulty and how difficult this was. So my film became about this, and also this faith. They believe that they've already won, that the truth is on their side, because the eternal truth is that, they are the ones who are exploited, right? And that they are already the winner. They're just waiting for the time when they will declare that the farmers are the winner. This faith, so I never saw anyone in those 13 months ever even like show feelings of despair or negativity. Like, I live with negativity like throughout the day, like I have to tell myself, you made that film, you can't speak negative, you have to think positive. But I don't know how they did it. That is really, I think it comes from the practice of faith. That's what I meant by that statement.
I'll open it up to a few audience questions and come back to the film.
Sir, excuse me, sir. You have to wait for the mic.
Yeah, I mean, I think the duration was less than 2 hours for this screening, but it was supposed to be 145 minutes or something.
It was 1 hour.
It was one. It goes
you didn't
very
feel
fast.
it that it just went by.
It's bliss. It's really pacey, the film. I was made to cut it down. It was like earlier 3 hours, with producers and distributors telling you nobody's going to last out. But later on, I regretted my decision. I could have easily made it longer. At this pace, I could have easily made it longer, because people don't realize, they just get absorbed in it, immersed in it. So, despite the everyday quality of it. So.
I just like to congratulate you on an absolutely remarkable documentary. I don't think I've seen such a powerful, moving documentary with so much footage that you have managed to bring it into such a cohesive and narrative. My question is, how do you get this film out to a larger audience?
You tell me.
No,
Really?
is it any way of getting it into a public release or on YouTube? Because, I mean, it's not enough to just show it to a handful of people. It's too powerful to be kept like that.
Yeah, but
are you facing any opposition,
I've
or will
already
there be
had
trouble?
the film banned in Delhi. My screenings have been cancelled. I don't have a censor certificate. This film can never get. Ye thoda censor kar dena. It'll never get a censor certificate. So I mean, I don't want to make a documentary again, because the problem is, how do we distribute it in this country? Not only there is no funding, somehow we did this, but how to get it out? I want to get it out. If I put it on YouTube, what happens is people cut it out in the portions that they want. Even my trailer, they could cut it out into 30 seconds and put it out. Just the 30 seconds that suits them, And it gets me into trouble, because I'm building a context in a film. I don't want people to chop up my film, and because it can get me into trouble. I'll never be able to do this sort of a thing again. So it's something that our society has to think. We do not care for these films. We are not funding them. There is absolutely zero support in distribution. If it weren't for places like Vikalp and these cultural spaces, seriously, I mean, and I just wanted to tell you, in all this negativity again, today is my 100th offline screening.
Wow.
It's a centenary, It's been shown on television abroad and all that. But India mein aake fir wohi hota hai. But I've been showing this film. I've been traveling with this film for the last 20 months. There is every day I have demand for this film. But we have to have space for this in India. It's not just the job of the director. It's already it's a handful of a job, you know, to just put your own money, keep on doing this, you know. Yeah.
But I think that
It's something
if
that
civil society spaces pick it up, and Nishtha will be happy to share the film
Yeah.
if you want to organize
I'm happy
other
to,
screenings.
you know, wherever you want to screen it, I'm happy to, you know, allow you to do it. Thanks.
I don't think something that's critical of the government very easily gets a censor certificate.
No, I have not. I don't want to.
Run into trouble there.
I mean, they'll just chop off the film. You know, I mean, if you read newspaper, you know what is happening to films,
Of course,
right?
but
They're
then if
chopped
you,
off so badly.
no, but let's say you apply and then they reject. I mean, that will make news.
No,
It's
actually.
not a
fiction
question of
films,
reject.
fiction
It's a
fi-
question of cuts. They will ask you to cut so much
And
out.
in a fiction film, you can still say it's fiction, but in a documentary, how can you say, you can't say not intended to resemble real characters, or right? So you.
I mean, how does that help me? I want people to watch the film, not get into the drama with censor board. I will eventually,
Yeah.
but I want the film more and more people to, you know, watch the film.
Hi. I'm really glad that you focused on the daily life of the farmers. I was actually wondering about some specific large events that happened even within the movie that was shown. And disclaimer, I'm not in any way educated in films or anything, so I was hoping for a technical answer as well. There was the Red Fort incidents. You showed it and you interposed it with audio that came from the news that was critical of the event itself. And I noticed that there wasn't much you showed in terms of what the farmers themselves thought about that event. There was a lot of silence around the other side of what the media was saying about that. And I was wondering if that was meant to be thought-provoking, or if it was meant to be a commentary on what you thought was the morality of such an event, or there was something around that I was like, I'm trying to understand what that
No,
was.
I mean, 26 January event could have been a whole film in itself. You know, unpacking different sides. I don't have that kind of footage. That was not the purpose of the film. But this event happened, and I just wanted to show what happened and how it almost killed the movement, you know, because people started going back. I couldn't motivate my team after 26 January to get up. We missed the next 2 days because they didn't want to go back. They were so demoralized about what happened, listening to the news, everything. And the third day, I managed to take them, and then we landed up on the ticket thing. We were demoralized. Everybody was demoralized because, you know, we had worked day in and day out. And then this happened, and whoever they had walked into the trap of the media was just waiting for them to do, you know, break something, you know, do something that they can just make this news. And for people who had spent day and night over there, you don't know what happened to them, it was really, really difficult. So I cannot unpack that event in this film. That has to be a separate film, if at all. But for me, that was not important. I had to go from this event to see how the farmers still stood their ground for the next 12 months after that, 10 months. That was for me very important.
Congratulations, Nishtha. It was such a moving film, really. I enjoyed every moment of it. There's a lot more revolution, I hope, that's coming to this country. And I would really like to sort of see how this film can be shown to people who are interested in building a movement across this country. So we'd very much like to figure out how we do that. Because I think, you know, I think India is going through a process now of either losing its identity or building it back. And if it's going to be building it back, I think it needs,
inspiration like the one you put together, I mean, so wonderfully, because we all missed out on it. You know, we were all packed away in our houses, and you've done a great service, really, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, a round of applause, please.
Hello, ma'am. So my question is about the preservation of the footage that you had recorded, like the 600 hours of footage. So after this film, if you in future want to make a director's cut, or
This is a director's cut.
if the country allows you to release it in theaters, so how do you like preserve this footage for that future time?
How do I preserve the footage? It's preserved.
Yeah,
Mane, what is your question?
like how do we like preserve such content?
Just on many hard disks. No, it's
No,
all digital.
I think you
So
mean it differently, right? Like, do you mean like in my private collection, or
Yeah, so
you
ho-
mean in a public archive?
Yeah,
Ah.
both. Yeah.
Yeah, good question. We should think about it. Yeah, I mean, I wish there were places where I could leave this footage, like places which have, archives. Abroad, like my film is already archived abroad in an archive, but in the Norway, in the Norway archives. But in India, we need all these things. Not just the film, but footage also. Yeah, absolutely. And to be in the public access.
Thank you so much for the film, ma'am. It was absolutely poetic, and I am absolutely not from a media background, so my question is not related to that, but slightly on your personal experience. As someone who is not a farmer, and as someone who spent so much time in the farmers' protest, I want to know what was your experience, considering the people who were protesting are coming from the shadows of 80s and 90s in Punjab, and Punjab's relationship with Delhi, with statements like Delhi kise di sagi nahi. My grandfather used to tell me since I was a baby, Delhi is not loyal to anybody. With statements like those entering the colloquial language of Punjab, and then having a protest which is not only mobilizing the faith, but also your financial income and linking the two. What was your lived experiences that changing Punjab's association with center and as India as a country? And if that movement, if that change was negative in your opinion, do you think that in the long term there is reconciliation? Or do you think that it was more of a positive impact that it had on the association of the two?
Very good question. I would require a lot of time to answer it. But thank you for that question. And I think it's a very important question today, because something has changed, because the government has also used this victory of the farmers in a way to also make it more difficult for them, And I mean, at least this BKU Graha group that I worked with, I know have been on the ground they didn't take a single day of rest after this got over. They've been working because, farm laws was just something that was not there. So they stopped it from not coming. But they have thousands of other problems. So they're protesting every day, and for example, you saw what happened during the floods. Where was the government and where was AAP? I mean, it was a complete sham. So it's not good what is happening. And there could possibly be a growth of, Punjab nationalism, etc. And it could affect the more revolutionary, the more left groups. And I'm not in a position to really talk. I think you would have to ask this question from really the learned people, and the more, I'm not in a position to really answer it in the depth that you would expect me to. Thank you.
I have a two-pronged question. The first one, like the role of the media and how they painted this, they just did the farmers so wrong, calling them extremists and just all of this stuff, which, you know, was picked up in the WhatsApp groups that I'm a part of, that of gardening enthusiasts. And when I asked my friends why, you know, were they participating or doing anything, and, you know, it was just the media really destroyed, I think, a lot of solidarity. And I'm curious what your sense is in terms of how the perception of the farmers and the farmers' protests, like where are things now, especially since you've done 100 screenings? Like, has it been successful?
Outside India, mostly.
Okay. But are you observing, I mean, there's diaspora outside India, Indian, South Asian diaspora. So I'm curious what you would say about how people are perceiving what happened there. And also I'm curious about what's happening in the future, because there's very little actual accountability and action that has followed up to actually honor the deal with the farmers. And so I'm curious, like, are you in touch with the farmers? What's going on now? Where are they? What's the trajectory forward?
Farmers, when you say touch with the farmers, Mane, there are millions, right? I'm in touch with some people, and especially this group that I focused on. Like, I don't know so many other people. First of all, it was very important to show the media narrative, you know, and how they painted and so in the film I'm doing that through the voices of the media and showing. And so the important battle in everything today is to build the narrative. So the farmers had to build their own narrative against that narrative. So they took out trolley times, and they embraced people like people like us, filmmakers, Instagram, and you know, because mainstream media to tha hi nahi unke liye. So they had to take all these alternate social media. But what happened because of this, and it was in the language, it was in Punjabi, it was in Hindi. So what happened, the news didn't reach abroad so much, except for Canada, where there is a substantial, you know, diaspora, you know, or in England, or in Australia. But the rest of the places, like in Europe, people didn't know much. So one of the challenges for me was also to like take this message across. I also had to keep it also very simple, so that a person who doesn't know who's Bhagat Singh, or there were people who were like, are all farmers Sikhs? Do they all wear turban? Like, you know, so that is my basic level when I'm making the film for. But it was important because they had missed out during COVID because of the mainstream media. They had missed out on the biggest movement. Now through the film, as the word goes around, you know, people are asking me, you know, we want to show this film. And, but they didn't know, a lot of people didn't know, except a few people who are already interested in the subject, you know, etc. The normal janta did not know. So it was very important. I felt that, in that sense, I felt that my audience is also outside. And also those people who don't know anything about Indian farmers and or the issues and stuff like that here.
Hello, yeah, Nishtha. It is such a pleasure to meet you and to see your movie. I've been looking forward to this for many years now, yeah, because I follow you on Facebook, and thanks to this venue, we've met. And the movie is so gripping, because I heard some people saying in the beginning, oh, it's such a long documentary. Once it started, you didn't realize, you know, where the time went, and 2 hours is gone. If I may say so, it's got that Hollywood kind of slick, fast-paced thing.
It's my Bollywood
and I
film.
cannot not Bollywood, Hollywood. Yeah, and I cannot believe how a person like you put it together, edited it like that, and put it. It's par excellence, you know.
I
And
lost
it's-
whatever black hair I had.
Yeah, whatever. That's okay. You know, all of us are going to lose it. Yeah, but it was really fantastically put together. Yeah, and to me, what is very amazing is this film is so universal. It's not about Punjab. It's not about these laws. You know, the same thing is happening in South America, in the Amazon, and with the Red Indians, and you know, the people in New Zealand. It's a global film. Yeah, and beautifully done. Thank you so much, and thank you for showing it. And you know, congratulations, 100 screenings. I'm just thinking, what is the rule for this screening? I mean, are we exempt from the laws or what? I mean, I don't,
Luckily
because
till
whatever
now-
it is, we got to push that boundary, yeah?
Till now.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Without a census certificate, we saw it, but what was the loophole which allowed it? Because maybe we got to push that. Thank you.
Nishtha, I have a last question. Is there one more question? Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe.
thank you. I'm just curious, did you have discussions with the farmers groups at different levels about the policy, about the nitty-gritties, about what really, what they felt was wrong, why they felt so strongly? Just the policy and how it would impact them.
Yeah, some of it is in the film also. But as I said earlier, because there was so much about it in the media, policy pe, and so many films also focused on the policy, I wanted to do this other film. Because one film can't be everything. You choose the path you choose, and you stay on it.
So the farmers are...
She had a question.
There is, sorry, okay. Okay, this is the last question. We have to wrap up in 2 minutes.
Thank you. You were saying that you could have made this film longer. Like, I was wondering if there were certain very significant moments that you maybe had to cut out that you would hope to have shown more. And the other question is, this movement was so localized also because of wheat and rice production, that happens in Punjab. Like, how do things compare to what is happening with farmers in the south? Because they were also there, like it was mentioned that even farmers from Andhra were there. But I imagine that at that time, like how some people were able to return back to their families, like some people did have to come back to the south. So how did you see that conversation?
So, I mean, just the physical distance now from south, because there were South Indians there. They had the support. It was all India Farmers Union. It was not just a Punjab issue. So, but people are from Delhi, Haryana. They could go back, like the rotation system they set up.
Yeah.
So 26 जनवरी के बाद जो छत्तीसगढ़ से लोग आए थे, झारखंड से आए थे, बिहार से आए थे, बहुत सारे लोग आए थे, वो लोग वापस चले गए. Because also, it's impossible to just stay, right? But Punjab and Haryana and UP could do that rotation system. But I don't know whether other people did it or not. But BKU Graha movement did the rotation system. 15 people would come and go. 15 people would come and go. So you could only do that because of the distance. You could reach Delhi in 7 to 8 hours, and just physical impossibility of everyone being there. Yeah, thank you.
I think I'm going to call it a night, Nishtha. Thank you so much for coming all the way from Bombay in person to be and celebrate your 100th offline screening with us.
Thank you.
And as always, thank you, BIC. Thank you, Nazneen, who's handled all the back end. Saravana for superb projection. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to thank Vikalp. Thank you always, always, always.